recording.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to American Baptist College, more specifically, the Discovery Zone. This is a time, space, and a place where we explore, experiment, and seek the laboratory of relationships, knowledge, information. And it is also a time of the emerging at ABC. And emerging connects to our legacy. And we've had many people to graduate and matriculate at this historical Black college and university. And we are thankful for the past, but we are also excited about our present and our future. And so part of that includes students and scholars like Mr. Mondale Smiley, who's with us today, a native of Michigan. If I remember correctly, this is the start of his sophomore year. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Great. And Mr. Smiley, one of our leaders, has made a connection with the KYB Leadership Academy, and they are our special guest for the discussion today. And we have the leader of that organization, Dr. Katherine Brown. If you would just say hello, Dr. Brown.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say I am so honored and excited to be on with you all today. It is truly an honor.
Well, it is our privilege as well, building relationships and collaborations and teaming and partnering and all of those words you can find in the thesaurus that welcomes inclusion. Someone once said that if you really want to know about a group or an organization, look at the language. And often there are more terms for exclusion than there are for inclusion. And so in this space of American Baptist College, we're going to broaden that language so that it is very welcoming. And it's not just the echo chamber, which means someone repeating what I already know, what I already think, and what I already say. And we welcome those who have something different. And so if I remember correctly, Dr. Brown, you have a video that describes the organization that you have. And is it okay if we show it now?
Absolutely. My name is Dr. Katherine Y. Brown. The most important thing that I do is being a mother of 4 children, ages 23, 16, 15, and 8. And then I told the stork to stop coming back. The second thing that I do, I am the founder of Learn CPR America. We travel nationwide teaching CPR, but the most important work that we do is a grassroots initiative in underserved communities. I'm also the executive director of the Roberta Baines Wheeler Pulmonary Hypertension Awareness Group. I have a leadership academy, the Dr. Katherine Y. Brown Leadership Academy, and I also see patients at Vanderbilt Home Health Care. All of my finance friends said, you don't start a CPR company in the underserved community where most people are least likely to do CPR. This is a bad option, Katherine. I thought, yeah, you might have a point, but we're gonna do it anyway. It felt like something I should be doing. And I was so passionate about it. I said, yep, I don't have a budget, don't have a team, but I think I want to do this. In the face of adversity, when everything could be going wrong, I'll find a way to fight. If you don't walk in your purpose, there's a missing piece in the universe that will never be fulfilled because it can only be fulfilled by you. We opened up the first freestanding CPR company on Chicago's South Side. So we started door knocking campaigns. If you were in the park, we would go up to guys and they would be playing basketball and I would take a mannequin and throw it in the middle of them and I would say, what's up? They were probably thinking she's crazy. And I'd say, hey, do you know what to do? And I would teach them. I was teaching a lot in the community on stroke awareness and heart health, and I was doing tons of free grassroots initiatives. I've done about 250,000 people for free trained in CPR, because I feel that your zip code should not determine whether you live or die. It doesn't matter where you live at. You should know CPR. So one day I was driving and I didn't feel well, and I knew I didn't feel well when I woke up that morning. And I said, I'll go to the hospital in a little bit. So I was driving and I happened to be talking to my mother in the car. I said, I really don't feel well. And she said, what is wrong? And all of a sudden, I couldn't talk. And I took a deep breath. And she said, Katherine, Yvonne, what is wrong? And I said, I think I'm having a stroke. So I remember being in the hospital, and the lady came into the stroke unit. And she said, you're the reason I came up here. God sent me up here. She said, because he wants you to know that you have a gift for speaking and inspiring and transforming lives, but you have to be more disciplined with your gift. And he had to slow you down for me to tell you that. And at that moment, I promised myself, I said, if you bring me out of this, I will love the word no. These two wonderful letters, they come together and form this word no. No, actually, I can't be on that committee. And those were the things I said, I will make family the priority. And I made that my commitment. They are the priority, and nothing comes before them, because I know what it feels like to almost lose them.
Thank you. Oh,
That's
wow.
amazing.
And you know,
Wow,
that just
Dr. Brown.
leads, go ahead, Mr. Smiley, what were you saying?
For me to work with Dr. Brown, I see the aftermath of that video. I see like how loving she is and how passionate and how exuberant she is. But to know that about her, that's my first time seeing that video. So I think that's astonishing.
Yes,
I love those.
I agree. And I want to welcome, I believe you said Sydney is with us as well. And I see Miss Daniel. Sydney, is Sydney Brown connected to you, Dr. Brown?
Yes, she is, but she does so much more than being connected to me. So that is I have 4 children. She's the only girl, and she's the second born. But she was in the first KYB Leadership Academy cohort and did a lot to help us in terms of our international travel curriculum. And after I founded the 501c3, which we'll talk about, this year we transitioned her to being the executive director. So I know she has another meeting, but I asked her if she could come on and just say hello to everyone, to our ABC family now, because once we connect with family, so.
Great. Well, Miss Sydney Brown, since our time is limited with you and we want to maximize it, have anything that you would like to share about KYB or about Dr. Brown or being a part of that first cohort? Or, I mean, it's wide open. So we welcome you to this space and this place.
Hey. How's everyone doing this evening?
Great.
Good. I think the most important thing about KYB is that it's student-led. It's a student-led initiative. Being a part of the founding 7 members, we really have the opportunity as high school students to come up and develop a collaborative in which we're able to create a curriculum, develop a motto and a mantra, so that we're able to become the leaders of leaders. And to be a student and to have, honestly, just resources poured into to make your vision a reality is a wonderful opportunity. And that's what's great about KYB. Every student has that opportunity to have a vision and be supported unconditionally with the support of Dr. Brown and their peers to facilitate service projects, to host PH awareness days, and so much more. So if you have any questions, please feel free. I'm willing to answer anything that you're wondering about, anything in particular.
Are you still there? Or was that the end of your statement, Ms. Brown?
That was the end. If you have any questions specifically that you'd like to ask.
Well, I wonder about a lot of things, but I want to get a chance to ask all of them. But what did catch my attention, if it's okay, Dr. Brown, just this idea of it being student-led, and I heard the word high school. I was under the impression that the beginning of involvement with the Leadership Program Academy was probably college students. So if the two of you can share one, student-led leadership, and what is the entrance? How do you become a part of it? You know, what are the requirements and so forth and so on?
Okay, so Professor Green, you said I could pivot if I wanted to. Can I pivot and show just a few quick slides that kind of give an overview, if that's okay?
Please pivot.
Okay, we're going to pivot. All right, can you see my screen okay?
I can see it, yes.
So the way we actually started was we founded the Roberta Baines Wheeler Pulmonary Hypertension Awareness Group in 2012. It was named after my mother, who was a nurse for over 40 years, and she was diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension. She really did advocate for PH awareness before she passed. What we found in trying to advocate for PH, that many of the patients were too sick to advocate for themselves. And so there was this idea of maybe we can go into the community and find youth who could assist us. Well, we really wanted a very high skill set. You have to be able to design a service project, implement the service project, and evaluate the service project. So I found 7 dynamic students. We call them the Significant 7. And they actually helped to develop the curriculum. So we looked at all the top leadership programs, what existed, and we said, what's missing? Because one thing about KYB, we are always trying to find what's missing. If there are 10 people on the left, we're looking at what's not being addressed on the right. So we held the first PH Awareness Day in November. We had over 150 people, and since that time, we've grown. So this is that first group. This is the Significant 7, the first 7 scholars. They were all high school students, but we grew. So we actually have a pipeline approach. We have a middle school program, we have a high school program, we have a college program, and we're national and international. And so just at a glance, the mission is to build the capacity for global leadership while also increasing awareness of pulmonary hypertension. We actually created a curriculum, as Sydney shared. We have 4 program modules: Introduction to Leadership and Effective Communication, a commitment to lifelong learning and service to the community, managing difficult situations and teamwork, and welcoming and appreciating diversity. All of our scholars have to demonstrate competency in the 4 program modules across 4 core areas. They have to pass a 110 question KYB examination, and then they also have to demonstrate mastery in 7 additional competencies. So just a very brief overview, since 2016, KYB has collectively completed over 100,000 hours of community service. We've educated over 3,000 people on pulmonary hypertension. We have 8 years hosting the RBW PH Awareness Day. Mondale Smiley was part of that. These events have been held virtually since 2012. We've done a RBW Mental Health Symposium. We've done 4 years of the RBW line dance. And everything we do, we're educating the community. We've done the Her Life, Our Legacy event, which honors loved ones who transition. And we've also done a PH Sunday. And then if you look on the side here, you will see that we have over 150 scholars, including collegiates, high school and middle school students. To date, there are 15 cohorts. Elizabeth Daniels is part of the 14th cohort. She helped to lead the KYB Caregiver Appreciation this year. And we just launched KYB Leadership Academy in Nigeria. We have hosted a full steam ahead conference that provides them with a foundation in science, technology, engineering, art, and math. We're looking at, even though they are college students completing their bachelor's degrees, we're already looking for them to complete the doctorate in something, a doctor of something. We've held 10 national conferences and 5 international conferences. We've been to Colombia, South America, Johannesburg, South Africa, San Jose, Costa Rica, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. We've done nationally, Beatrice, Alabama, and Nashville, Tennessee. So I just wanted you to kind of see a little brief overview of some of the things that we have done.
Thank you for that information.
Stop that share. And then you can go back to Sydney, because again, all of this was based upon what students say.
Okay.
So every project that we do, like this year, Mondale was part of the DJ Battle Day Party. Elizabeth,
Yes.
for her, she had different speakers. We've done golf outings. We've done 5Ks. You name it, we've done a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We're always trying to find what's missing in the community. And so Sydney, even though she is my daughter, I think she had a lot of weight on her shoulders because I didn't let her off the hook. You know, she still had to think outside the box and do a lot of things. I think that's why her career interest is what it is now, because of all the work that she's done in the community. She's pre-med.
Okay. Well, Sydney, you want to lean in on this part of it? Anything you want to add? Okay.
So what's wonderful is that, I mean, there's a clear demonstration of a formula in a very, I don't want to say strict, but there's a particular competencies we're trying to reach. But what's so beautiful about it is that the students are able to come in and determine, what does that look like for them? How can I learn about effective leadership and leading through adversity in my own life? How can I develop an event in my own community that addresses the needs of a particular population, that addresses the awareness of pulmonary hypertension? So you're able to curate your own service projects and different initiatives while still touching on these important skills to develop as a leader.
Thank you so much. Mr. Smiley or
Yes,
Miss Daniels, any contribution to this part of the conversation before we go further?
I think I want to speak a bit about the student-led part of it. So I don't know what I was expecting when I got the recommendation to join the KYB Leadership Academy, and I just knew, like, leadership. I know I want to be a leader. I know I could use some refining, some educating, you know, some structure, and that's what they're talking about providing. So I'm here with it. So after I got in, and, you know, I had some challenges going in simply because of the diversity within the group. Like, for example, most of the KYB leaders in my cohort attend Fisk University, and we had one student who attended Tennessee State University, but I was the only student from American Baptist College. So when we talk about the modules, Module 3 and Module 4, you know, accepting and welcoming diversity, and when we talk about managing different situations and teamwork, I had to implement those in real time. So when she says it was student-led, you're learning these competencies and you're navigating these modules, and you're learning more about yourself and about your background, while also learning more and educating people about pulmonary hypertension. Like, we came up with everything, the flyers, who was going to be there, who we wanted to be there, when we were going to do it, the location, everything. And I just thought it was like a cool little school project, you know what I mean? But it was real. It was real. And I think that was like the best part about it. Like, I want to continue to educate people about pulmonary hypertension because I didn't know anything about pulmonary hypertension beforehand. I think that's the beauty of it. Just being able to give people that knowledge that they naturally have a right to, but just don't have the proper education in.
Thanks, Mr. Smiley. Hey, Ms. Daniels.
Elizabeth, I was going to tag on to Mondale and just give a shout out. He is the first and only student that we have ever had from American Baptist College. So we hope to close that gap one day. And the other thing I just want to share is that in KYB, everything is earned and nothing is given. So it's not, you don't automatically earn the blazer. You saw them with the blazer on. The blazer symbolizes that they have demonstrated proficiency. So prior to earning the KYB blazer, you'll see everybody in the white shirts. So we do believe in that. Like, we really hold them to a very high standard. But I think Elizabeth can share with you some of her, because she's from the newest cohort to graduate, cohort 14.
And congratulations on graduating. And you are muted, Ms. Daniels, so make sure to unmute yourself so we can hear you.
Yes, definitely. Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Daniels. I am a sophomore student at Fisk University, majoring in biology and Spanish. and I am in the 14th cohort of the KYB Leadership Academy. And just going off of what Mondell said, it's really an amazing program. And although I'm new to the program, I've already learned and grown so much, both personally and professionally. When it comes to raising awareness about PH, my grandfather was recently diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension. So being in this program has really been beneficial, not only to me, but my family as well, as we learn to navigate this illness and the ways that we can not only encourage him, but encourage others who are also suffering. So I'm very grateful that I joined this program and grateful for Dr. Brown and all the help that she has had. And outside of PH, I'm also really thankful for my cohort members. I've gotten close to a lot of young ladies that are also at Fisk, and we just continue to work to help the community in any way we can. And I think it's been really great just to be able to connect with people in a virtual format as well.
Thanks. So there are several things that come to mind. So I'll begin with the first for education and exposure. Is there a difference between pulmonary hypertension and just hypertension? Because that's interesting that it's pH. So can someone inform me about that?
I'll let Elizabeth, I'll let one of the scholars do that, because that's one of the competencies, is to be able to educate the community on pulmonary hypertension.
Yes, so for pulmonary hypertension, it's a type of high blood pressure that affects the arteries in the lungs and in the heart, which makes it much more significant than just like a different type of hypertension. So when you're doing that, you have trouble breathing. Oftentimes your oxygen levels are low, so it's hard for you to move around. So that's something that I noticed with my grandfather, who's recently diagnosed. It's hard for him to just do simple daily tasks that we usually don't think about, like walking to the kitchen and grabbing something to drink. Those kind of things are often more challenging once you have pulmonary hypertension. There is no cure for pulmonary hypertension, but it can be managed with oxygen therapy and different medications. So it's definitely a manageable illness.
Thank you. Mr. Smiley, did you want to add to that?
And one of the things I can say about PH, as Elizabeth shared, she had not heard about pulmonary hypertension prior to KYB. And that has been the case with many of our scholars. Once we start to educate them on pulmonary hypertension through the Roberta Banks Wheeler or the RBW PH awareness group, a lot of times they will go back home, share this information, and in some instances, people can get proper diagnosis, treatment, and then I know my family and others, we're always there to help guide others through the process. One of the things that Sydney, when she was younger and my mother was diagnosed, in many instances, the medical providers did not know how to change my mother's medication pump. And Sydney, as a high school student, would have to go to the hospital to help manage the medication. And we had one situation where the EMS came to the house and no one knew how to work the pump, and I wasn't there, and they actually sent somebody to go get her from high school and bring her back home to help. So there's a lot of education that needs to occur in our community to make sure that when we say pulmonary hypertension, we're talking about something different. It might look like a lot of things, but it's pH. And that's the beauty of KYB, because the scholars bring a very innovative approach to providing the health education. So we have a toolkit that we're doing nationally now. We're mailing out pH education boxes. So their innovation helps to bring it to life. So there's a beauty when you hear us say, increase awareness of pulmonary hypertension, but we're also building the capacity for global leadership. That's why the international part is so important to our program. So both things are very important.
So very, very impressive. So I'm going to start with a thought, but I want to loop back around it after I say in addition to it, okay?
Okay.
So when I looked at the mission statement initially, it seemed to suggest that the work was primarily about women in leadership. And then I noticed that there are men who are included, or males as well, which I'm really impressed with, because it's usually beginning men who happen to add women. So I like the whole idea of what may be reverse social justice, if I can, right? This idea of some women are leading it, great women leading it, and you all have decided to create room for us as men. So that's the part, you know. And then I want to just talk about, I think it's social justice, it's equity, it's advocacy, it's leadership. It is what we call it ABC, SEAL, SEAL. And that idea, how do we seal? And then how do we broaden seal? And so I wanted to just this idea of it being women, but you let men and males in, and then this wonderful work of social justice that you're doing.
Well, we started with the first cohort in 2016. And the 5th cohort was where we added our first 3 male scholars.
Thank you.
Because they did tell us, hello, what about us? So we did. And then when we went to Columbia, we had a blended cohort. And so in our cohort in Nigeria that Elizabeth has had the opportunity to work with, we also have males. And as you know, Mondale had 3 males in his cohort. So we have both now. So we are very excited about that. And to your point about social justice, the reality is that the education was not happening in our community. RBW was the first 501c3 of its kind in the state of Tennessee. We had the first mobile pH awareness unit where I purchased a motorhome and we would go into communities and provide this education. So, you know, you have to be on the front lines and what I call is in the community for the community. And we had to listen to the needs. And it was alarming when we would go and do surveys at football games and all these different places. And you might ask 100 people and none of them knew what pH was. So here's the thing. If this is impacting our community and we don't know what it is, that's a problem. One of the things Elizabeth and I have been spending a lot of time on, and I think she's seen it firsthand, a doctor can give a diagnosis of something, but not talk to you about the treatment. And in many cases, that is what happens with pH. Oh, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's just a box that you checked off. What does that mean? And so for us, it was not enough just to do a survey and say, okay, we educated you. We want to go back. So now we do like a pre-test education, post-test. We have people who are taking our toolkits nationally as well. So we are doing a lot of work and it happens through the KYB Leadership Academy. And so I think that's the other thing I want to say is that their major in college might not be a medical field, but as long as you have a pulse and you're breathing, you should be concerned about health and health care and the welfare of the community. And if you think about the modules that we talk about, health, leadership, government, and finance, no matter what you do, we need to talk about those things. So the other thing I want to make sure I point out, Professor Green, is the Crest. So you see the KYB Leadership Academy Crest, it reflects the wreath of achievement. It has 7 studs that represent the significant 7. And then the crest, you see, it does reflect those 4 core areas: health, leadership, government, and finance. And so that's the whole piece. We're looking at the global aspect of it. And so the only way, to me, I feel like you can prepare global leaders, if they haven't traveled outside their zip code, that's a problem.
Yes.
That's the problem. And we keep saying, oh, they're global leaders because you opened up a book. That's not the world. We want them to see the world, touch the world, smell the world, taste the world. And then they have to do, get this, a comparative analysis of what they learned. They have to compare their community to another community. And it is a research project. I don't know, Elizabeth and Mondale, their projects might have wound up being like 30+ pages. And so one day I would love for you, even if we're offline, for you to see what that looks like when it comes together, because they start this project, Professor Green, and they think it's going to be an easy PowerPoint presentation until they get started. And here I am, and they say it's great. And I'm like, you're already a leader. But I need you to be a leader of leaders of leaders. I mean that there are leaders out there. I need you to know that they're going to be led by somebody, but I need you to be the one at the top of this point leading them. Because if we know as kind of seasoned leaders like you and I, that there's a void in the leadership, then what are we doing about it? And that is really why they're held to a higher standard. And I have people say, Dr. Brown, it doesn't take all that. It does take all that, because they're leading the people that you're telling that it doesn't take all that. Somebody has to lead those people. And that is really, truly what we're trying to do. So it's not easy to be a KYB leader because it's earned. just joining does not mean you will earn the blaze or earn the distinction of going to the next level. You have to put in the work, and you have to measure it and show how you're measuring it. It's a lot to it.
It sounds like it. Sydney, Miss Brown, Mr. Smiley, Miss Daniels, anything that you want to add in this conversation at this point before we go further?
Yeah, absolutely. In regard to your question, focusing on the social justice aspect, within those 4 core areas, we chose those specifically because research had shown that effective leaders internationally and nationally had proficiency in these 4 areas. So to touch on health literacy, financial literacy, being able to travel, those 4 areas culminate into creating a KYB leader, as well as a global leader who was able to enact change. And I think that speaks specifically to your point about social justice. We provide them with tools when they're planning their service projects on how to create an effective marketing plan, as well as promotional planning, how to reserve a space for your event, things like that. Those are key areas and skills that someone needs when they're trying to develop a collaborative or develop a team or enact a type of initiative within their community.
Thank you. Mr. Smiley, Ms. Daniels?
I'm gonna go.
And your connection too is a little distorted, Mr. Smiley, or is it that just on my end? Can everyone hear Mr. Smiley clearly?
It's a little something happening.
It's a little distorted, Mr. Smiley.
Here.
It was still kind of distorted. Ms. Daniels, okay, Ms. Daniels.
Yeah. And I think another important aspect of that is that we really focus on diversity. I think it's important to see African-American leaders in our communities. So just for me personally, I take really pride in just passing on what I learned from this program and just through my education at Fisk University. To the younger kids in my communities, I can see like we are capable of being leaders with whatever we want to do. So just having that diversity aspect, that there are people who look like you that can be successful. So I think that's actually really important that we focus on in KYB.
What I'm noticing, and thank you as I'm listening to the conversation, is this intersectionality and this overlapping of all things. So if I am a middle schooler, high schooler, or in college, having to be proficient in these areas to earn, I'm sure it has to have a way in my reading and my writing, arithmetic, my study habits. I think one of the terms that I heard that I want to point back to, disciplined with your gift. Did I hear that correctly? Is that a line? Is okay? I took notes. Yes.
That is correct.
Go ahead, you're gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, early in my career, I had mentors, but I had mentors that really didn't always show me the truth. So I got to a point where I checked all the boxes. You have the house, the car, the dog, you're the president of 10 organizations. But really what they were celebrating was someone who was doing too much. And so I did have to learn how to be disciplined with my gift. What is my gift? The gift that I have been given is that I'm a visionary leader. And I can meet someone else and I can see what their gift is sometimes before they see it. And my job is to help inspire them to excellence and empower and encourage them to greatness and all that they were created to be and become. Well, the only way that I can pour out at that high level is to be disciplined with my gift, to know that I can't be everywhere. I can't be all things to all people. I have to learn to love the word no and realize that it is okay for me to change my mind. And unapologetically, if there's anything that contraindicates the time that I have to sow back into RBW, KYB, and my family, then it doesn't get my time. And so that's what I even talk to the scholars about. When they're overextending, I say, you're doing a lot of things. What are these things giving back to you? So we've got to teach them at a younger age. It's not about checking the boxes, because you can check all the boxes and be successful at being unhappy and unhealthy. So that's why we have to pull back in and say, there is a missing piece. And I firmly believe that every single one of us has some gift that we were given that makes the world a better place. But it only happens if we utilize the gift. So through KYB, a lot of times people are kind of finding that gift, honing that gift, and using the gifts in different ways. So we even do like a DISC leadership assessment where they learn about their leadership profile. We've done Live to Lead with KYB Leadership Academy. We've had guests such as Steve Harvey, John Maxwell. That was part of a global conference that they had the opportunity to participate in. So I want them to hear from global leaders. I want them to hear the good, the not so good, so that by the time they get to our age, they're not making the same mistakes. They know you have been given a gift and you've got to be disciplined with that gift. And that's the beauty of it. And they will all share with you that I give them my time unselfishly. If they're up late doing something, I'm going to be up late with them. I'm going to stay the course. Now, if they did a little bit of poor time management, they're going to hear about it, but they're going to hear about it while I'm up with them doing it. And that's the difference, because I will never ask them to do anything that I haven't done or that I'm unwilling to do myself. So it goes back to being disciplined with your gift and walking in your purpose. So this is my purpose. It's my life's work. And I know we didn't talk about it, but I want to share the name KYB was not my choice. It was my mother's choice.
Okay.
I had all these names, and she said, I want it to be named the Dr. Katherine Y. Brown Leadership Academy. I said, why? She said, because I feel that I'm the only child. You were the only thing I did right in my life. My mother did tons of things right, but this was important to her. And so in humility, I often condense it to KYB, because I don't want people to just focus on me and not focus on the work, because the name is not greater than the work. And you have to realize that that was mom's choice. I honor it, I respect it. And, but also we're here to do the work, and we're here to serve, and we're growing by leaps and bounds. So I'm excited about it.
Well, it's very interesting thinking about one, the discipline with your gift, and another thought that you said that I'm interested in, either Ms. Brown or Ms. Daniels or Mr. Smiley, I'm leaning in on. You said that you noticed where there was a need, that often people lock into what is already obvious, or what is already happening, or whatever is already going on. But you found a niche where need was not being met. And as a result of that, is what created room and space. And I think if there's wellness, something that I've learned, well, let me figure out where there's unwellness, because if there's already wellness there, how do we maintain it? Where's their unwellness? And then this other idea, who profits from the unwellness? Who benefits from it? And that's what I notice as I'm listening to this conversation and engaging. So I'll pause there and just hear from you guys. Mrs. Smiley's hand is up too. He's ready to go.
So I hope my connection's going good, because you said something and I really want to expand upon it more. But when you talk about, we notice that there's wellness, but where's their unwellness and what can we do about it? I have to see that from the lens of being native from Detroit, Michigan, and the levels of unwellness that are in the city. And knowing that I've noticed that at a young age, and I decided I'm going to do something about it. So I decided to go to college. But even now saying, well, it's not over, because just me being educated is not all that there is to do. I have to educate them in areas that even I may be uneducated in. And one of those areas is the education of pulmonary hypertension. Another one of those areas is the education of community organization and activity leadership. Yeah, people have ideas of, what needs to be changed and how this needs to be done. And a lot of people come with ideas, but it's very rare that you have people that can execute that solution to those ideas. And I think that the KYB Leadership Academy gives me the foundation, or gives me the outline to execute those ideas that my mother constantly comes up with and that I hear my brother saying he would love to do, and that I hear, you know, my neighbors or my grandparents saying, you know, like, oh, this would be nice, you know, do a community garden or a block party or deliver food to the homeless or deliver food to the elderly. Well, how are we going to do that? And it doesn't get done. So that's where they have wellness of creativity. They have wellness and ideas and wellness and intentions. They have good intentions, but the intentions are spoiled when you can't execute them to show or to reap the benefits of that intention. So I think one of the things personally that excited me about the KYB Leadership Academy, even in light of COVID-19, which I know is a whole another pivot of a conversation, but I found, like, even in my cohort, there are students who are from Detroit, Michigan. Kyra Henderson is one of them. And I think she's actually back in Michigan now at this moment. So it excites me to know that as I'm trying to get the education, as I'm trying to carry this torch on behalf of Detroit, Michigan, I'm not the only one. And it is because of organizations like the KYB Leadership Academy that we already have that community, that family, that brother and sisterhood, so that when we both go back to Detroit and we connect and we say, well, I may be part of the east side of Detroit and you may be from the west side, well, let's just do something for the city of Detroit. And let's do it under the name of education and wellness and health and love and in community. So I think, and finances, all that, I think let's do it underneath that name. And yeah, it may be KYB, but it's beyond KYB at that point. And I think talk about wellness, that's how it hits home to me. That's why I'm so dedicated to completing the portfolio project and laying all this information out, because it's not information just for me, but it's information for people who will come behind me. Even though I'm only 19 years old, there's still people climbing up behind me right now. And I want to be able to step aside and show them this seal, or step aside and show them the works behind this seal and educate them and why, hey, just so you know, there's people coming behind you as well. And I need you to point them in a similar direction that I was going in. It don't have to be exactly the same, but as long as you're going in a similar direction, we can all move in that direction.
Wow, thank you, sir. Just as a point of reference, it's 2:44. We have about 12 to 16 minutes left, just depending on how we navigate it. Want to maximize it. I know, Dr. Brown, you had another video. I didn't know when you wanted to show it, but I wanted to remind you that you had mentioned at some point you wanted to share it.
Very good. So while they're pulling up the video, which we can show right now, the one thing I want to add, Mondale's from there. I'm from Chicago, South Side. I have to throw that out there. And, you know, finance and sustainability. And
yes,
the skill set that they're getting, they're not just creating products, they're creating products that can be sustained in their community. So that's another thing I want to share. So I think the video is ready. This is giving you an overview of one of our international trips back in 2018. With them on this amazing, amazing journey. My babies that are traveling, I need you all in the center. We're going to circle you all and we're going to pray for you really quickly, and then we're going to head on out. Memorize their mantra in Spanish, and you all will memorize it in English. So, good luck. You'll do great.
And the mantra really is a positive affirmation, because if you look at your thoughts, your words, and your actions, that will define anything that you do in life.
Hola, me llamo Caitlin and I'm from KYB. Hoy mis palabras expresarán a las personas y a mí misma que soy una líder.
Today my thoughts will be a constant reminder that I'm a leader.
Today my actions will show the world that I am a leader. I am a KYB leader.
In 2 short years, we are already on our 7th cohort of transforming lives, nationally and internationally in multi-states. So it's an exciting time for KYB Leadership Academy. It's an exciting time to increase awareness of pulmonary hypertension, and it is an exciting time for people to invest in our future leaders, because that is the future. And if we don't develop the capacity of the next generation of leaders, then we are doing ourselves and our communities an injustice. And KYB is innovative in our approach and our thinking and our processing, but guess what? The future is innovative and we are right there with it. And that's where you should be.
So Professor Green, that gives you an overview. And one of the things that we really think about is, if you have a dream, you have to move that dream from the what if phases to the what now phases. And so we believe that our scholars are empowered and trained to transform, and they have a skill set that many don't have. And you asked about leadership in the community and what was missing. And I want to say this, but I really am speaking from my heart here. What was missing is that the leaders that were ready to take over, they really weren't ready. And I think in so many instances, we wanted to love them so much and do it for them that we were not giving them the skill sets. And so when we had these conversations about what should KYB be, and well, this might be challenging for people, I want to challenge you right here in this circle of love. I'm going to challenge you right here, and I want you to be ready and get ready. And so I always tell them, let's be like a rubber band. You don't know how far you can stretch until we stretch. So wherever you're at, I'm looking at how to get you 10 steps further than where you're at. And so even the way that they do meeting agendas and they're typing reports and they're doing surveys and analysis of things. And so you did a great service project. What does that mean? What is the impact? And how do you know? And I'm always, how do you know you made a difference? Can we measure it? Who knows you did good work? And so they're doing it at a very elevated level. And that's why we always say they are the leaders of leaders of leaders, because their skill set is not just, I showed up, I did a service project, I took a picture and I'm happy. It doesn't work that way. How do you know you did a good job? And when they do that comprehensive portfolio, it is a powerhouse. They have speakers that come from elected officials. Elizabeth had the opportunity to have an engaging conversation with the cohort from Nigeria. And what were the challenges for those students? And they were like, well, we're afraid because of what we're dealing with in our world. And it was a totally different paradigm shift. And at that moment, they come back and they're like, oh, I'm thinking about the world differently. Wonderful. You're asking a question. Wonderful. So we have a thing called a go-to question. You can never have a speaker and not have a question. You need to have a go-to question, because that's the only way you learn, is if you open up the dialogue. Ask people questions and listen and learn. And so that's one of the beauties of it. So I truly just feel so honored to have over 150 scholars in a 4-year period, and that they're nationally and internationally. And now we have college campuses in other locations that are contacting us to bring KYB collegiate cohorts to their college campus. And so we're truly excited about that. Elizabeth is, and I know we're pulling Mondale in, is leading a project right now that is touching middle school and high schoolers from 50 states right now. So there's a lot that we're doing because we want to, as Mr. Smiley said, share this message And it's a global message, it's global leadership, but we want the youth to know you can, you will, you must, and you shall. And if you don't do it, who will do it? And it's not enough just to do it. Is it sustainable? Can you measure it? And if you don't know what that means, let us teach you. And that's what we're going to do. And that's our mission. And so we're grateful to be here.
Well, this has been an exciting time. So what I would like to do, we have approximately 8 minutes. I'm going to try to do this in 5 minutes. And we're definitely going to have you back. Is ask Sydney Brown if she has anything that she would like as her closing thought for now. And notice how I left the door open, Miss Sydney Brown, for now, and do the same with Miss Daniels, and then Mr. Smiley, and then Mr. Andre Trice, who is a part of our institutional advancement. He's behind the scenes, but I want to see if he has any closing remarks as well. And then I also want to invite Miss Woods. So if we all can take about 30 or 45 seconds, if we go over it, it'd be fine, but we want to try to meet that measurable. I'm using your language, Dr. Brown. We want to meet that measurement.
Thank you, Professor Green. Thank you.
So Miss Brown, please. Miss Sydney Brown.
Thank you. I just want to thank you, Professor Green, for hosting this platform to share the work that's continuing to be done in communities in Nashville, nationally, and globally with your community. Thank you to Mondell and Elizabeth for being excellent examples of what a KYB leader is and what a KYB leader can do. And thank you to Dr. Brown for kind of sparking this initiative and being able to give the 7 of us that initial opportunity to create a program and a family beyond what we could have ever imagined.
Thank you. Thank you. Miss Daniels.
Yes, I also want to say thank you for this amazing opportunity. Like I said, I'm very appreciative of this program, what it's provided me and my family, and just being able to develop and help the community any way that I can has been really beneficial to me. And I just want to encourage anyone listening to try to be a leader within your community, whether it's something small, just hosting a small event just to educate something that you're passionate about. For us, it's pulmonary hypertension. Just try and put yourself out there, because you never know what kind of impact you could have on the lives of others. So always be on the lookout for making change in your community. Thank you.
Mr. Smiley.
I would like to use this platform in my voice to say, and piggybacking off of what Elizabeth said, get KYB to your schools. Get KYB to your high schools, get it to your colleges, get it to your middle schools, get it to the city of Detroit, Saginaw, Chicago, Illinois, San Francisco, wherever, Los Angeles, get KYB there, because good intentions are good intentions. But without the proper execution, it will just be for naught. And I don't want your good intentions to be for naught. So get KYB there.
Wow. Yes. Mr. Trice, anything you want to share? He is here somewhere. He'll log in, or will not log in. He'll unmute himself promptly. Ms. Woods, anything that you want to share before we go to how to get in touch with us at ABC, and then we'll have final words from Dr. Brown, and I'll close this out.
Sure, I'll jump in. I know that I'm usually behind the scenes, and you'll probably see American Baptist College on the bottom of your screens at this moment. I do work behind the scenes with ABC, but I can also say that I've had the pleasure to know Dr. Brown for quite a few years now through other organizations. And just speaking on behalf of this program, I think what I've always taken away is that she's not selfish with these individuals that she is equipping. Although they are in this program and doing incredible work, a lot of the students are involved in other programs on their campuses, other community initiatives, and she still pops up in those spaces. So not only is she a leader to her own cohort, but she is still leading in other spaces with other organizations through partnerships, and literally exposing her students not just to what she can give, and that way they have their name on certain things, but really making sure that they get a well-rounded opportunity serving the community. And so even if that means it's her event or it's a community partners event, she wants them there. She's going to make sure that they're there and that they're equipped and just ready to serve. So again, you know, I would just piggyback off of the conversation had. And as Mondell said, if you're able to have this organization partner with your campus, they're definitely open to that opportunity. And I would definitely advise that as well.
Thank you. Thank you. You want to pull up on the screen the contact information for ABC, and then we'll have the final. Is it final and closing? Because if I'm saying she has the final thought, and then I'm having the closing, that may be out of order, or I may need to find another word, but we'll figure it out. But here's more information about ABC. If you want to get in touch with us, you can go through the admissions department, Twitter, Facebook. All of these are wonderful ways to locate us. And then Dr. Brown, if you would tell us how to locate and get in touch with you and with the KYB Leadership Academy.
Thank you so much. And so we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our hashtag is hashtag KYB Leadership, and you can find us at KYB Leadership or hashtag KYB Leadership Academy. And so that is how you can find us online. And then for RBW, just hashtag RBWPH group. So just type in KYB Leadership. And we just want to make sure that we encourage people. Mondale said it best, you can't go after Mr. Smiley. I'm just telling you that we want you to join KYB and move the what if to what now so that you can see change in your community. And so follow us. You can email us, kybleaders@gmail.com, kybleaders@gmail.com. So we are there.
Thank you. As I give the other final thought or the conclusion to this, 2 or 3 things I want to share. One, I was really struck by this idea of, despite the differences in the language challenges of one nation or country to another, and how you all have uniquely found the similarities in the midst of the differences. The other thought that I had was, I see that this organization is thinking globally and acting locally, but it's also thinking locally and behaving and acting globally. So on behalf of American Baptist College, our entire community, I'm Dr. Brown, to you, your mom, who is the impetus and the originator of all of this, right? And your extended family and your children, all of the cohorts, to Ms. Woods, to Mr. Trice, and to the community at large. Thank you so much for joining us. This will not be your last time or the time after them being your last time. And I'm looking for the ways where we can connect and we can do this work of minimizing loss and enhancing human well-being together. So thank you. And to all of you who logged in, thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having us, Professor Green.